Welcome, everybody. Curry County Board of Commissioners meeting, Curry County, Oregon. It is 9 a.m., April 16th, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very sad to report, in Indiana we had another mass shooting, 8 people dead, several people seriously injured, 2 not expected to make it. Can we please have a moment of silence, Board? Thank you. To my far left, Director Brad Rickard. To my immediate left, Curry Commissioner Christopher Pash, myself, Court Boyce. To my immediate right, Commissioner John Herzog. To his right, Curry County Counsel Anthony Pope. In the audience, we have Sheriff John Ward, we have Assessor Colin, and we have Treasurer Barnes. Again, welcome all. Any approval or changes to the agenda?
I have an amendment, if I could.
Commissioner Herzog.
Prior to hearing agenda item 4D, discussion on board commissioner chair, I would like to discuss some issues and questions I have with the board and county council in executive session.
I'm not sure if I understand. We may not have an executive session today.
His microphone.
Thanks, Miranda.
Thought she was out. Thought my name was Mike. It should be, maybe.
Director Rickard, are we going to need to have an executive session on the appointment of a public officer?
No, we don't have any updates on that, so there's no need for that.
Okay. But you still want to have an executive session?
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog, could we move that to 11:30? And here's the reason why. When we decided to have this meeting today, Wednesday, in order to accommodate Commissioner Pash's schedule, we set it for 9 o'clock this morning, and I have a very important AOCC meeting that began just a couple minutes ago, so I'm going to be in a hurry to get there as quickly as I can to the extent possible. So if we could have an executive session 11:30, come back, would that be okay with you? And then my AOCC, this is not Association Oregon County, it's AOC County, BLM counties, 18 counties.
Well, I don't think that's going to work because Brad's got to leave. I don't think Chris.
He's got to leave at noon.
No, 11.
And Commissioner Pash wasn't going to be here, that's why we moved it to 9 o'clock.
So what, can I ask what your meeting is that you have to go
Mine's
to?
a fair board meeting, which I can forego the fair board meeting. It's not a problem.
I just have to stress, if I can get to the AOCC meeting, it would be very, very helpful.
Could we come back at 11 instead of 11:30
I think that time would work.
for the
Work for you?
executive session?
Okay? So, any other changes to the agenda?
So the change is to have executive session and then come back and discuss 4D.
Yes, sir.
So would that give us enough time?
Yeah.
Okay? Looking
Make
for
a
a
motion
motion?
to approve the agenda as amended.
Second?
Further discussion? Do we need to do a roll call? I think
Yes,
we're
we do.
unanimous on that.
We have to do
Okay.
a roll call.
No, I don't think so. Okay, I'll do the roll call, so you're, you can?
Yeah, I was planning on.
Appreciate it,
So,
okay?
Commissioner Pash,
Aye.
Vice Chair Herzog,
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Votes unanimous.
Thank you, Director Rickard. Public comments? In the interest of time, we're going to hold it pretty close to 3 minutes, and the first one I have is David Barnes.
Good
morning, David Barnes. I just want to clarify some things that I said the other day in the discussion about a deputy treasurer. I misspoke when I said that Deb Crumley only stayed for a couple of weeks. Deb actually stayed 2.5 months after her retirement date. The first 3 weeks of it was wondering who was going to be appointed to be the new treasurer. And then she spent about 4 or 5 weeks actually working with me to get me up to speed on the job. I cannot begin to tell you what the value that she provided to me in staying. There's no way that somebody would have been able to do this job without her staying and helping them to get up to speed on it. It's incredibly involved and complicated, and like I said, I cannot thank Deb enough and recognize her contribution back to this county to take 2.5 months of her time after her retirement date to make sure that the Treasury function was able to continue. And I just wanted to put that on the record for everybody and clarify that. That's all I have to say this morning.
Mr.
Thank
Barnes,
you.
I clearly remember you saying 2 weeks extra above and beyond essentially the 2 months. Is that your recollection?
I think she did
So,
awesome.
but I appreciate the clarification, but that was my understanding at the time when you came before the board.
Deb pointed out to me that the other day that I said she stayed on a couple of extra weeks. And I wanted to clarify that it was much more than a couple of extra weeks.
And it was a total of 10, I believe. Close. But that's the way I interpret it. Good job. So next is Nancy Sue Rose.
Nancy Sue Rose, Nasika Beach. I watched part of the meeting from Wednesday, and I wanted to say my opinion on one of the things about the chair. The chair designation for the Board of Commissioners is for conducting meetings, as far as I can understand, not that you are the chief of the Board of Commissioners or it gives you any more special privileges. A motion was made at the end of that meeting, and it wasn't followed up as things. When a motion is put to the board by one of the members, it is supposed to be followed up, and it wasn't. And so a lot of us noticed that when we were watching the video. And also some of us perceived, and I'm saying this, boys, hoping you would, that you will think about things that you say. They're there in the public, and some of us perceived a thinly veiled threat when you turned to another board member and said, I want you to think about that really hard. And it was, I mean, I was shocked. And so I want you to think about that, that's how some of us perceive that. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're here today. The primary reason for calling this special meeting on a Friday morning no less, was to consider the resolution to transfer public health, Curry County Local Public Health Authority, back to the state of Oregon. I'm going to ask Council Pope if you would mind reading that resolution.
Yep, no problem. This is Resolution R 2021-09 in the matter of a resolution transferring local public health authority responsibility from Curry County to the Oregon Health Authority, State of Oregon. Whereas ORS 431.170 directs the Oregon Health Authority to take direct charge of the functions that are necessary to preserve the public health in a local public health authority whenever a local public health administrator fails to administer or enforce ORS 431.01, ORS 431.550, and ORS 431.90, and any other public health law or rule of this state as described in ORS 431.150. Whereas ORS 431.382 allows the governing body of a local public health authority to transfer authority to OHA if the county cannot fulfill its obligations under the law or contract for public health services and activities within its jurisdiction. And whereas the Curry County Board of Commissioners received an email or a letter from OHA dated April 8th, 2021, indicating the intent to take direct charge of the public health functions in Curry County necessary to preserve public health, which includes all communicable diseases and COVID-19 response work, all COVID-19 vaccination efforts, and all environmental health services work, should the county not provide necessary documentation to the OHA that the county is fulfilling its obligations. And whereas the local public health authority in Curry County currently has a staff of 1, which is the public health administrator, and whereas on April 16th, and this is in anticipation if this does pass, the Curry County Board of Commissioners voted to transfer its local public health authority, ORS 431.382, over to OHA, and now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners hereby resolves to transfer all local public health authority duties to the Oregon Health Authority.
So, gentlemen, looking for a motion?
So moved?
I will second that. Any further discussion? Commissioner Pash?
I will say this will be the single biggest mistake this board makes.
Commissioner Herzog? Director Rickert, call for the question, please.
Commissioner Pash,
No.
Vice Chair Herzog,
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried 2-1.
I have one follow-up here. I'm going to give the board a document, if I may. Would you take this? This is from Adapt Healthcare, and just got it yesterday afternoon. And so I went oh yeah, Council Pope, you have one, I think. I went to Council Pope.
I have it.
I'm going to read a little bit of it because I've been corresponding with one of the CCOs to see if they're ready to help us on public health and be a conduit between the county, the CCOs, the state. I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to read one other comment real quick, or email exchange I think is pointing us in the right direction. Obviously, none of this has had board approval, but I think it's very good news. This is from Gregory Brigham, Adapt, Oregon, from Douglas County. Dear Commissioner Boyce and Ms. Bollinger, Ms. Bollinger's been has set up the 5 meetings that we've had regarding mental health within the last 3 weeks. I'm writing to clear the final condition to permit ADAPT to move forward with a public due diligence process with the intent of assuming the role of CMHP, that is a community mental health program, referencing Curry County. ADAPT has had very productive meetings with both CCOs, All Care and Advanced Health, and has the necessary assurances in place to move forward. Exceptional news. Both CCOs are highly engaged and will make excellent partners in meeting the behavioral health needs of residents of Curry County. ADAPT's board met, this is in Roseburg, met Tuesday and approved moving forward as soon as the local mental health authority and CMHP, contracting can be clarified. The current status of the Curry County LMH remains unclear to me. It's not unclear now. I don't need to read the rest of the letter. The work that I've been doing with Advanced Health in particular, I've asked for their help for public health. The reference, Council Pope, that you had, the Oregon Health Authority has, I say this is what I sent to Advanced Health this morning. I say we set up a virtual meeting this coming Tuesday and possibly involve other county staff. That was a requirement, or excuse me, a request that OHA had. To begin the process, and likely first priority should be to quickly deal with OHA and county concerns too, and then the paragraph that they reference. I want to make sure the public knows the date. Yesterday, the local public health administrator has not accepted case investigations and contract tracing assistance from OHA. Therefore, discussions regarding OHA taking on the CD and COVID-19 response work should include other county staff to ensure that discussions are realistic and fruitful. And I would be in favor of that. Elected officials, anyone that's appropriate, has some contributions. The reason I asked for a meeting Tuesday is because I'm concerned that we don't want to lose any time that we don't have to. So, Public Health Commissioner Liaison, I hope to have something to get back to the board fairly soon, and it may require an additional meeting next week. to bring you up to date. I don't think we'll need to make any decisions next week, but I hope to have a lot of content to offer the board again, maybe Tuesday afternoon. So that's where we are right now. Again, I certainly interpret that as very good news. Anything else, board? Council Pope?
Just want to say
Oh, excuse me.
we had 2 other agenda items on here, B and C, but I think because we are resolving to transfer the public health back, that those agenda items are no longer needed.
Okay, so we're meeting back here, did we decide on 11? Okay, I'd like to recognize Curry County Sheriff John Ward.
I got to reiterate Commissioner Pash's comment. The biggest mistake that you guys are ever going to make is the public health. Full disclosure, that has nothing to do with my wife, because she's administrative for the public health. I've been asking her to resign for the last 2 months for working in a toxic environment. This letter that you guys have got from the state, and I've talked to Mr. Herzog about this, and I was hoping that you would understand, it's basically a threat. But they're asking for is by the 5 o'clock today, a letter from Public Health explaining what they're doing to alleviate or fix this problem. And there's been many steps that have been taken to fix the problem. She's down to 1 staff. Again, when the county took back Public Health, it was at a moment's notice, and Curry Community Health said, we don't want it anymore. And you're going to take our staff, and you're going to pay them what they were getting paid over here in the private sector. Well, the county can't afford that, so an agreement was made for a 1-year thing that the wages would go back down to what the county could afford. Well, lo and behold, 1 year later, they get the resignations, and now she's down to 1 staff. They don't want to work here. But that's not anybody's fault. But I can tell you one thing, there was a lot of work put into starting to rebuild this thing. There was interviews, and there was a job offer for a person for WIC. There was MOUs signed by Josephine County Sheriff's Board of Commissioners to provide assistance until we're back on our feet. And they were coming over here next week, what I understand, to do some not assessments, but inspections of restaurants and things like that. They were going to work with the new person for WIC as a coordinator. Those things were all in step. You guys had jumped the gun on this. I don't know what your hurry was. If you don't like what's going on, let the state decide after they receive the letter today of explaining how you're going to fix this. I just don't know what you're taking local public health authority away from the county that's been here for years and giving it to the state. The state's going to run it from Salem. Do they care about Curry County? Think again. They're taking the citizens of this county, and I'm going to use a term you always use, court boys. I want the public to know there was no reason for you guys to act this quick on a letter from the state, which it did give the option for us to respond to them by this afternoon, but you went ahead and voted to give it away. It just does not make sense. It's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, Sheriff. Anyone else?
Since you're offering David Barnes and County Treasurer, I just think that, I've heard a lot of people for a long time say what a toxic environment it is here. And quite frankly, sir, what you've shown today by your vote is that you have absolutely no support for the people who work here. Reward has put in 60, 80, 100 hours a week for the last year, and what you've done is told her that you don't trust her to do her job. That message will resound with all the rest of the staff here in the county, that they do not have the support of the Board of Commissioners when times get tough. It's a disgrace what just happened here, and I'm sorry to be a part of it. I'm sorry to have to see it. But as Mr. Pash said and as Sheriff Ward said, this is by far the biggest mistake you will ever make in your 4 years in office. Thank you.
Last call? Board? We are adjourned, 9:21. We're adjourned. We'll go to executive session, 11 o'clock.